We now cross to the IEC in Pretoria, where the Nelson Mandela Foundation is holding a media briefing.
Representing our people who have been calling us day in and day out, questioning the results of the IEC that they see on the television screens. Yesterday, we submitted a grievance and received an acknowledgement letter from the IEC, which is not clear, which is very vague, which doesn't tell us exactly what's going to happen. The IEC already missed this deadline that we gave them in the morning, and that's forced us to engage South Africans. And we have taken a position as the organization that we told the IEC that we are demanding the IEC to give us to bring us an independent auditor to audit these results, because we don't agree, and we want all political parties to be part of that process. And even the ANC and the DA in the National PLC meeting, they were also saying there have been a lot of irregularities. So it's not an issue of just the political parties that are raising. We now call upon our constituency as well as our independent observers to support the issues that we are raising. Because we are saying, as the political parties, that we are not going to allow democracy to be at stake. And we are saying we are not worried about the numbers on the board, because those numbers don't represent the will of the people. Because we are saying to you, the reason we are fighting very hard for this, most of the members who are here, they voted in their own stations. They were told that in those stations, their vote is 0. So we cannot sit down. We've been told the conflicted IEC CEO and the chairperson, who was trying to say to us, no, we must relax. They are going to be able to find a way after the elections. We said, no, we're questioning and challenging the elections now. We can't wait for the results to be completed for us to challenge this, because we want free and fair elections. So we are going to allow these leaders who are standing with me here to also give their inputs on this particular issue. And what we must notice, that is not, we don't know each other, these political parties that are here. Yeah. We were united by one cause of a free and fair election. And if it comes to push, we are going to call our masses to come here and protest for free and fair elections. And everybody who has voted for these parties, they must join us in their respective areas and wherever they are. Because what we are fighting here is democracy that must be practiced, not preached on televisions, because people are excited and spoken about on radios. Thank you very much.
Can you make a point? These are 75% members represented here of various political parties, which makes it two-thirds members of contested political parties who are present here are objecting. I think you can give him a point.
Could we ask you to give us your names before you speak, just so that we can get your names right on the screen?
Adeline Chabeleng from APC.
Adeline Chabeleng. So what we are saying, these are 75% of the political parties that have registered. And if we add the money that we've paid, it's more than 17 million. Which shows that this is the majority of South Africans, two-thirds, who are denied their rights for free and fair elections. So we're going to start from this side.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Lotta. I'm the leader of Front National. I want to emphasize the fact that the protest we have is not a political action. It is a question of moral decency in allowing the people of our country across the board, irrespective of what party they support, like we are represented here, a decent and a fair election. This is what it's all about. We have all seen various examples of irregularities, people cleaning their fingers, returning to stations, all of those. We all know those stories. But when we get to the point where the figures on the board represent less than your enrolled membership, and you get to the point where you as a political party leader or in the leadership know full well where you have voted, and when you look at that VD, it shows a 0 for your party, I'm starting to question the numbers. I'm not pointing fingers, I'm saying there's something wrong. We need to find out what is wrong, not for the sake of numbers, but for the sake of what democracy, decency and honesty means. This is a question of honesty. The people standing here represent ordinary South Africans who went to the booth on Wednesday to vote for what they believe in. Why are their numbers not shown on the board? That's all we're asking. We want an independent audit of the entire process. That is the first thing. The second thing that we ask is that it is acknowledged by the international community that if 31 political parties out of 35, out of 48 contesting an election says something is wrong, there is no way in which such an election can ever be regarded as free and fair.
Any plans to go to the electoral court?
Yeah.
We are consulting.
Let's wait
consulting.
on that one. Please let the other members address, and then we will open for questions.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
from the IEC, since we came here, have been admitting that there are irregularities in different voting stations. And they've also said that they've arrested more than 20 people who were part of those things. Our question is, if the process was illegal, why should we be given these results? Are we giving these results to legalize them because they come from an illegal process where people are being arrested? And the other issue is the IEC is not taking us serious. We were in there, we were asking questions. The CEO said to us, he is chasing numbers to close the station. We are here complaining about irregularities. They are here. They want to to close the stations. They want to finish the process. They want to declare the elections free and fair. And we are not the only people who saw that the elections were not free and fair. Before we could stand up as political parties, members of the media complained. The AEC itself, the person representing them in the PLC, was saying that there's a lot. If there is a lot, why are we continuing? Why don't we stop this and go for re-election?
Yeah, we want to make it very clear.
Dennis, just
We want to make it very clear that we are not a disgruntled group. We are raising very legitimate question marks about the process that is happening here. We know for a fact that the ANC, this election, was an election of do or die. They have deployed, over these years, they have deployed their own cadres in the voting stations. We know that SATU, the teachers, are part and parcel of running the elections. We had reports from our from our party agents that they were mishandled in the voting stations. Our demands are clearly spelled out by our leader here in our press statement. We want to refer you, if people are saying that it's sour grapes, we want to refer you to the Clockware case, where comrades, where people were complaining and people were making out as if they are just stupids. We are not stupids here. This country belongs to all of us. We are not going to allow a situation where a ruling party is coming to make this country a banana republic. There's law and order. Yeah.
I voted it 0.
Law and order.
Here's the evidence. I'm actually just brought it.
Many of members, parties here, have reported that in their constituencies, people were voting 5, 6 members of the party, but when the results came out, 0. We can't allow that. We can't. That's why the Congress of the People are saying we are fully supporting the 34 other parties. These elections can never be said it was free and fair. And we are going to call upon the international community to intervene, because we can't say, no, we are just going to leave it. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Yolandi LaRue. I'm with the Compatriots of South Africa, and like all the other 35 political parties, we refuse to be referred to as small parties. All of us has paid our deposits like any of the other parties. Firstly, the IEC this morning reminded us of the code of conduct that we all signed as political parties. We want to remind the IEC that they also have a pledge to uphold. And that pledge is to ensure that we have a transparent, free and fair elections. We want to call on you as the media. Some of you have already ignored us, and thank you for finally coming to the table. We want to remind you, you have a responsibility to assist us in making sure that South Africa knows what's happening here is not a free and fair election.
Yeah, thank you. And on top of that, the media must know, some of you will know you are colluding with the IEC. There are those medias we told the IEC that have actually they were speaking in the tables there during breakfast. They were not aware that we are the same part of the political parties which are complaining. They were calling around, we don't want you to broadcast this thing of the disgruntled parties. And also they told them, we already spoke to the IEC, they've agreed that they are going to squash these small political parties. And I'm just raising this because of what she's saying. We saw it inside that there's a judge who has been deployed. Instead of the judge uploading the rule of law, she's been deployed to come and intimidate political parties. But we told the judge that we are not intimidated. All we are asking is for free and fair elections. The media must desist from being used by political parties to push a narrow agenda that is not going to help the community of this country.
Thanks. Here is BLF, who's also going to say something.
All we want to say is that the IEC seems to be taking into consideration only complaints that are coming only from established parties. And this becomes an injustice because there are many new players in this year's elections, like our movement, who have not been taken into consideration with other small political parties who are contesting for the first time. Then these elections should have just been for the big established parties, such as the African National Congress, the DA and the EFF. If new parties who have proven constituencies and support from their people are not being taken serious, are being compromised, what message are we sending to the thousands and thousands of people that voted for the new entrants in these new political parties? It means the whole system of elections in this country is only designed to benefit and to only give a voice to established parties that already have a particular proven record. These particular elections, there is no debate that they are the most contested. There is no debate that there is the record number of political parties. There are new parties who have participated in these elections, who are supported by thousands and thousands of people. Do we say to the people of South Africa who support the agenda that we represent that their voice is not legitimate and therefore our parties should be put at a disadvantage? I think that would put the integrity of the Independent Electoral Commission into high questionable standard, and that is why it is important for the IEC to take all the complaints that have been raised collectively by these particular political parties into consideration. They must be resolved with speed before the elections results have been conducted, because it would mean the IEC is preoccupied in the business of concluding an unjust process, and that would mean we are disregarding a very important voice in society that wants change.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry, I'm Vanessa Swanepoel from the Land Party.
The Land Party.
The Land Party. Mhlaba. I just want to say that the way that we are being, it's almost like we're being dismissed, and we're not being taken seriously. We're just a bunch of people that are a little bit unhappy about the numbers on the board. And what people don't understand is that actually most of us, and particularly I can speak from the Land Party, we're activists. We work on the ground with people every day. We see how they live, we see the challenges that they face, and we try and negotiate and speak and act as an intermediary for them with local government, national government, provincial government.
Thank you.
And the landscape, the political landscape has changed over the last year, and that has been evident in the huge number of protests. Look at all the protests that were happening when the elections were happening. Why is that happening? Because people are not happy with the governing party. You cannot dismiss us as small individual parties. We may all be different, but we all represent very important constituents, and our people want their voices to be heard.
Thank you very much. We are going to open up for questions now, and these leaders at the back will also respond to the questions. Please ask your questions.
Sorry, I just wanted to check if you want an independent audit of the voting process or of the results.
That's a question, eh?
Both. Yeah, results and the process. The process is definitely flawed, and we want the results audited. And we want it audited by an independent auditor, a private company, not the Auditor General. Top 3 political parties.
And we do not want any sampling. We don't want any sampling, because if there's sampling, they collectively decide what is going to be audited.
We were clear with the IEC. We told them we want 2 things only. We want an independent audit, not from their general auditor general that they were bringing to us. We want independent, unconflicted auditors to audit the whole results and the process. Look, we have proof. We've got proof. If you want proof, media, we have them. We'll show you. And the second process that we said we want the re-elections so that the marginalized voices are heard.
Thank you. Next question. Okay, you are all happy. Thank you very much. We will inform you about our next press briefing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, my brother. Thanks, my brother. Yes, why?